Are you ready to listen to my dad Joe and Uncle Justin talk about sports? Now on with the show.
The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop, which have been serving the greater West Lawn area delicious food for over 70 years. You are listening to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
Boring.
A weekly podcast about sports since 2011.
Don't you ever get tired of being wrong all the time?
With a focus on football.
36-yard line of Philly. Shotgun snap to Hurts. Dropping back. Only one person rushing. Hurts looking, standing still, winding up. Long pass. It lands at the 20. No one is there. Zeros on the clock. It's over. It's over. The Chiefs have won. The Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57 on a game-winning field goal. Trailing at 10. At the halftime stop, 24-14, they go on to win 38-35. What a game.
Now, here are your hosts, Joe Mays and Justin Raffoff.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show. I'm one of your hosts, Joe Mays. Here with me, as always, is my co-host, Justin Raffoff.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
And we're here on episode 392, talking NFL Divisional playoffs here in January 2024. We have all but one game finished, Justin. We are in the second half of Kansas City Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, at the Buffalo Bills, who no one should want to see win this game or advance.
I mean, I just hope both teams have fun.
I've actually been seeing a lot of sentiment from people that if it can't be so-and-so, I hope it's the Bills. And I'm here to say that is terrible.
That is a big sentiment.
No,
like,
it's the wrong
public is
sentiment.
on the Bills, man.
No,
public is on the Bills
It's
here.
wrong. And I don't care. I know people, and this is another thing that I could talk about. I know people hate the Chiefs because, let's face it, they're the most successful team of the last 4 years.
Yeah.
People always hate the winners. And I get that. I understand that sentiment.
Yeah.
And the Taylor Swift thing, like, people hate that. I think the thing I'm more annoyed at is the people complaining about how much they show Taylor Swift than them showing Taylor Swift. It's not taking away from the game. Well, it has nothing to do with the game.
You're not missing plays because they're showing that.
That would be a problem, and I would hate that.
Right.
But they just show her for literally like 2 seconds, and people get all up in their feelings.
Yeah.
For what?
Right.
I don't get it.
I'm for it. I love it. I love when they do that.
Well, like, I don't want to say
when
I love it. I don't care.
When they show Detroit and they show Eminem there,
right?
Like,
yeah,
that's awesome. Like, it's awesome. And I know those aren't the same exact scenario, but like, who cares? Like, if I'm not missing plays for it, if you're not bringing them into the booth to give me their take
interview on it, yeah.
Which, by the way, Eminem has done that. Remember that was a classic. Look that one up on YouTube.
That's a fun one, yeah.
But like, it's okay. It's okay. Like, not everything.
Yeah, I don't get the overwhelming.
I'm more annoyed by Chris Collinsworth saying, "Look at this guy sit down in the zone. He's so great at that." As he runs a skinny post like straight down the field. Like,
you've never been a Collinsworth guy.
I am not. I'm not. And yeah. And people are to give him credit. People love that booth, and that's okay.
I'm neutral.
It's just not my thing.
I'm neutral about Chris Collinsworth. I know some people really don't like him.
He can't stop talking.
But that's the same thing about Joe Buck. Like, I don't hate Joe Buck.
So
I'm mostly talking baseball there.
I used to. I'll tell you what. I read his book, his like autobiography.
He's funny.
It gives you a different perspective. Like, it's cool. It's cool. What's interesting is there's kind of some things where he's like, basically like, I know people think I'm a jerk for X, Y, or Z. And he's just like, yeah, but that's who I am. Like, he is those things unapologetically. Not like, oh, I go like, not like Brett Favre jerk levels. Like, it's just like personality jerk levels, and like, hey, he just owns it. That's who he is. And he's unapologetic about it. And he talks about how like, he has gotten to that point. He wasn't always that way, like how he tried to be like a people pleaser kind of thing. And like, that's just not going to get you anywhere. He basically talks a lot about how people would be like, you only got this job because of your dad. And he's just like, I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not going to apologize for getting this job. I'm just going to work as hard as I can.
Speaking of dads, my dad's already. So he watched the whole show last week.
Okay.
But I asked him if he did because he didn't comment. Like, he usually texts us all the time, usually to make fun of you or the Eagles in some way.
Fair
you
enough.
Have your Cowboys-Eagles banter. He wasn't feeling it last week. He did let me know that he watched, but he didn't have anything to say. This week, he's already here. He already says he disagrees with me and you. He says, I'm tired of seeing Kansas City since Chad's not there anymore, which, like, I understand.
Fair enough.
Like, if Chad was there, I would be, and now that the Dolphins are out, I would be 100% in on Kansas City. I'm not 100% in on Kansas City.
Just this particular game you are.
I'm 100% in this game, and
I
if they
get that.
win, I'm 100% with them next week, too.
Right. No,
Because I don't like the Bills, and I don't like the Ravens, so I'm rolling with Kansas City. However, if it would be the Lions against Kansas City, I'm going Detroit.
I get that.
And that's not because I dislike Kansas City or that I don't like Patrick Mahomes or I don't really have.
It's Taylor Swift.
My girls will be super mad if I'm not cheering for Kansas City in the Super Bowl against Detroit. If it would be Detroit, should they beat the 49ers? Because as we'll get to it,
are you telling me your girls are not big Eminem fans?
NFC Championship is Detroit at San Francisco. We'll get to that shortly. But Kansas City doesn't get my 1B designation anymore because Chad's not there anymore.
I got you.
Chad, the team that Chad was on was always 1B behind the Dolphins. The nice thing was for 4 years, 1A and 1B were the same team for me, which was fantastic. But Jacksonville was always that step behind for 6 years. Then it was Kansas City for 5 years. That was fun to ride those coattails. Everyone in the community, by and large, was cheering on Chad in Kansas City. These the last 5 seasons, he's not there anymore. So people, I think that immediately in this area flipped the switch to, I don't really care if the Chiefs win anymore, because unless you were a Chiefs fan, why does it matter to you? Especially, I think people are still salty from last year because he beat the Eagles. I was thinking about this. Chad's seasons, especially while he was in Kansas City, the way those ended were against fantastic teams or moments. You had it against the Patriots and Brady.
Yep.
Actually, 2 years in a row, right? Jaguars, his last year in Jacksonville was against Brady and the Patriots in the AFC Championship.
Then the Patriots, and that would have been, if the Jaguars would have won, they would have played against the Eagles in the Super Bowl.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And then the next year in Kansas City in the AFC Championship
because
game,
I believe, were we at Natalie's birthday party at the
we were.
Y?
We were. Yeah, it was. Yes, I was just thinking about that because I was at the Y for my nephew's birthday party, and I was like, one of those times I was here was that the week that the Jaguars lost to the Patriots?
Yeah,
though?
they had the lead and they blew it.
Yeah, that's a bummer, but
which I was actually okay with because I did not want the Eagles to have to play against Chad in the Super Bowl.
So that would have been January 2018.
Yeah,
because the Eagles played in February 2018, right?
Yeah.
That Super Bowl. So lose Brady and the Patriots in the 17 season
on the bad or on the offsides call and the bad roughing the passer call.
Yeah, lose to Brady and the Patriots.
Oh, sorry, that was the next
as
year.
The Chiefs. And next year, the 18 season, 19 season, go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl against the 49ers. And remember, this is a Chad specific discussion. That was his team growing up. So he helped defeat. Well, he's on the team that defeated. He was injured, unfortunately, that year, but he was part of the team that defeated his favorite team from his childhood as a Montana guy. Next season, lose to Burrow and the Bengals, who go to the Super Bowl. Next season, go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl. Wait, is that right? No, sorry. I skipped the Tampa Bay year.
Yeah.
Sorry, before the Bengals year. Go to the Super Bowl, Brady and the Bucks, lose to Brady and the Bucks. Next year, lose to the Bengals and Burrow, who go to the Super Bowl. Then last year, go to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl against the Eagles, the hometown team.
Right.
So you beat the team that you liked growing up, and you finish beating the team that was closest to you when growing up. It was just that came to me today when my dad and sister we were talking about the Chiefs, and it's just funny. Just weird connections, but don't understand the Taylor Swift stuff. I know people are like they're making it a bigger problem than it needs to be because, well, it's not a problem. It's not impacting the game. Like, I just don't, like, I just
People
roll
finding
my
stuff
eyes.
to be upset about.
But like they make it seem like when there's some celebrity there that she's the only one that's ever been shown. But like you said, they've been showing Eminem in every Detroit game.
Have you ever watched any Rams game where they show everybody in LA there? Like, and the thing is, they're the only Rams fans there because everybody else is like out of town. Fans.
Right. They're
like,
all cheering for the other team.
Right. Like, I just don't. Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, but so the first game yesterday, AFC, was Texans at Ravens. At halftime, it was a game. It was 10-10.
Yeah,
and I felt really good.
Well, I honestly, a lot of the talk there reminds me of a lot of the talk that we had with Dallas about just like that pressure piece was like it felt tangible in that game. Like you could feel like, okay, because while there had seemingly been some progress, like Lamar first year they got knocked out of the playoffs, next year got knocked out, but then they won a game and got knocked out, and then he wasn't in, they didn't make the playoffs, and then he didn't play in the playoff game last year. So like,
right,
that's not his game, Well, so you have that, but now it's 10-10 against a team that was one of the worst teams in football last year. It's just like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? And then they played, I think I texted you, they played bully ball in the second half. Like they just, well, I think in the second half they had a 7-minute drive for a touchdown, then got the ball back and had another 7-minute drive for a touchdown. Oh, no. One of those was the 6-play, 3-minute drive. So they had a 7-minute drive for a touchdown, 6-play, 3-minute drive for a touchdown, and then another 7-minute drive for a touchdown. Like, they just game over.
Well, it's one thing to eat up the clock and get some points. It's another to eat up the clock and score touchdowns.
Well, and so when they went up 17-10, and then they get the stop, and next thing you know, it's
24-10.
24-10. Well, when it's 17-10, I said to my dad, and they had the ball at their own 7.
Yeah.
I said, I'm like, this next score is
put the game away.
Is going to be a lot, because I was like, if they don't go and score here and they give the ball back to the Texans, oh man, like what? I was like, if they go down and drive and get a touchdown here, it'll be late in the third, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, this Texans team, while a close
Sticking
game,
around on the road.
has only put up 3 points. Like if they're down 14, you're going to be like, the offense has only put up 3 points in this game. And that's exactly what happened. They drove down, go up 14, and you're like, they're only down 2 scores, but their only touchdown came on a punt return for a touchdown.
Right.
So you start thinking like, well, they're going to need to outscore them by 15 the rest of the way. And the offense only accounts for 3 points so far, and it's not a knock on Houston. I think they met their match. Baltimore it was great. They talked about it. You could see Houston make the adjustment to the early game plan that Baltimore had, and then you saw Todd Monken and Lamar make the adjustment back, and they just didn't have the answer at that point.
No. The first half went great, at least defensively, special teams. Houston just, offense was out of sync. They couldn't get things going against that Baltimore defense, which, to be fair, not a lot of people have over the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So Baltimore set up, first time ever the Ravens franchise is hosting
it's
the
the
AFC
first time in
Championship game?
53 years.
Okay.
71.
So modern.
1971 was the last time.
Essentially just after the merger.
Was the last time they hosted the AFC Championship.
Which they obviously weren't the Ravens.
No, that was right.
It's not even the same franchise.
Right.
Baltimore, the area, hosted, but
Yes.
it wasn't this franchise. This is the Browns franchise that is hosting the AFC Championship game. I'm sure both cities love that. But no, yeah. So the Baltimore Ravens, number 1 seed.
You've guaranteed you're probably going to get some text now too.
Well, your mom was already
comments.
messaging me. I told you about wearing purple. I said it really depends on how this game goes right now, Chiefs-Bills, because unfortunately, if Buffalo wins, I will be pulling for Baltimore, but it just guarantees I'll be rooting for the NFC team, which I hope is Detroit. I'm not like you guys, and I was ragging on the Eagles about the 49ers.
Yeah.
I don't have any ill will towards the 49ers.
The thing is,
but
I don't like the Niners, but it's not the same. Like they are of the teams that are remaining.
Dallas, Washington, and the Giants.
Of the teams that are remaining, they're the one I want to see win the least. But if they win, whatever. Like
it could be pretty bad. I think you could have people getting on you after last year.
Oh, they will. They will. At
You know,
the same time,
whether it's legit or not.
But this is what I will do. I will, and Jamie's probably not listening, so I'm okay to say this.
How
she'll
dare
find out.
she?
But what's going to happen is it would be a knock to the Steelers because there would be yet another team with that number with the 6 championships, and so like. Because that's all you would hear when I was in Pittsburgh.
Right now, it's just New England and Pittsburgh, right?
Right. You just hear
Dallas, San Francisco, right behind.
So like, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. And honestly, I mean, there are some Niners fans, but I don't know many Niners fans.
Yeah,
like I see people wear Niners stuff, but in terms of like the people I talk to,
right, and you're
like,
not.
I don't know how many Niners fans.
You're not super active, at least in a trash talking way on Twitter that would get you in trouble.
Right, I'd be surprised if people like saw me out on Twitter to trash talk the Eagles. But
so that was the late game. 49ers beat the Packers. It came down to it, 24-21, and
honestly, watching that game, my takeaway was. Neither of these teams is championship game worthy. However, you could see that the Niners have the ability to be that team. Does that make sense? Like, because the Packers would work so hard and need everything to go so right. And then, like, just anything bad would happen or anything good for the Niners would happen, and boom, it's like right back in it. But like looking back at it, the Packers only played well in that game for like 10 minutes. There was like a 10-minute stretch in the third quarter where they played well. The rest of the game, they didn't play well. Neither
team did.
Right.
It was not a well-played game.
They got in the red zone 3 times and got 2 field goals out of it in the first.
6 points out of
so like
21.
They were not doing great there. They dropped 2 interceptions, like surefire interceptions. Like Brock Purdy had his best drive of the game on the last drive. Absolutely. He looked bad the rest of the game. Like he needed, you know what that was? We used to talk about this all the time with like Matt Ryan, right? Like Matt Ryan would play poor enough, and Matt Ryan had like crazy like fourth quarter stats. It's because Matt Ryan didn't play well enough in the first 3 quarters to ever give his team a lead. So he's always coming from behind in the fourth quarter. You know, like that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like with Brock Purdy yesterday. Like, yeah, the Niners they finally got their comeback like win. Well, yeah, because they played like crap the first 3 quarters.
Right.
Like,
I think the point I saw a lot of people making is championship teams still win those games.
100%.
That is where we were at with the Eagles mid-season.
Right.
Like when they got to 10-1, like they were good teams win those games where you play poorly.
Unlike the Eagles, we've also seen, and that's what I was trying to say with my first point, was like, yeah, because like I don't like the Niners, but like they have the ability to be that team that beats that Packers team by 24 or 21, right? Like the way the Packers played yesterday, like if I were to have told you that the Packers were only going to get 6 points out of their first 3 trips to the red zone, and like and just some of those things, they were going to throw 2 interceptions, they were going to do these things, like, and I asked you, how much do you think the Niners are going to win by? You're probably saying at least 2 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, if I give you those stats, like, you're like, oh, it's not even close. But you're right. They did. They found a way to win. The other side of that, though, is I don't know that they're not the best team in the NFC still. Like, I think they beat Detroit next week.
Yeah, so
like, how is Detroit going to stop them?
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Detroit can't stop anyone.
I'm super happy for Detroit. I feel like everyone outside of Green Bay, Minnesota, and Chicago is super happy for Detroit. And you may actually have some fans from those 3 NFC North franchises also happy for Detroit.
Right, because
not
Detroit
everyone
has been so bad.
Right, for over 30 years.
Right. Like they're not even the main rival of any of those. Like,
right, because they haven't been relevant.
Right, all those teams. Like
times.
I feel like the Vikings hate the Bears and the Packers,
yeah,
and the Packers hate the Bears and the Vikings, and the Lions are just
and
like
also
along
Detroit's
for the ride.
there.
Right.
Yeah, and then maybe that'll be changing.
And
that'd be fun.
Look at Green Bay, who has now lost 5 postseason games in a row to the Niners. Like,
yeah.
I
dating
could
back
see
to
Packers
2012,
fans being like, I could see Packers fans not liking the Niners more, But anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But so let me be clear. Like, I don't like the Niners. I don't think they played well yesterday. They did find a way to win, which is key. I think that I expect them to beat Detroit. I don't want to say soundly. I don't think they blow them out necessarily, but like Detroit, it's a bad matchup for Detroit. That's what I think, because I don't see how Detroit secondary slows them down.
Yeah,
like, I don't see it.
I'm rolling with the Lions, but
I hope Dan Campbell can, and it's going to be like people will be talking about Detroit. Everyone is picking the Niners in this game.
Honestly,
I hope they can roll with it.
And this is just because Detroit is a very good team. They're not great.
Right.
They've had some head scratching losses this year, but they haven't looked great these first 2 weeks.
You called this 2 months ago. Is there a great team this year?
No, I don't know. I mean, I feel like at times,
if not, are the Ravens it like right now?
Yeah, well, yeah. I think both San Francisco and Baltimore have a chance. They both have looked bad at times. San Francisco more recently.
If one of them finishes it off, I think they could make an argument that they were a great team, that they hit their stride
I
in
agree.
the last 2/3 of the season.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because Baltimore, or if San Francisco wins it all, it can be like, well, we won possibly the rematch with Baltimore in the biggest stage, and our only other loss since then was to them on Christmas.
I feel like for either one of them to get that, though, you almost need to beat the other one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Ravens beating, because it does not take away from the victory, but for this, like, where does this team stand in terms of greatness? Like, if the Ravens were to beat whoever they play next week, and then they were to, let's say, win by 2 touchdowns over Detroit, people are going to be like, yeah, they beat Detroit,
Yeah.
And that's taking away from them.
I think about, that'll be a conversation for a year. Like, after the Super Bowl. But then when you look back on it, all that's going to matter is Baltimore can say, we have 3 banners.
Yeah.
We have 3 Lombardis, right? It would be 3.
Yeah.
That's all that would matter, because I think you brought up Jamie.
All of a sudden, you start looking and you're like, all right, they've got 3, and they just locked up Lamar Jackson. Now, I'm assuming 2-time MVP. He would be at that point. This is getting way ahead of ourselves, but he would be 2 times, or not 2. He'd be a Super Bowl champion at 28 or 27, something like that. He's younger than Joe Burrow.
Okay, it's funny you bring that up. First, before I get to the Jamie comment I was about to make, not about Jamie, but we already talked about the Steelers. But first, the Ravens. I was already going to come onto this show and say, no matter what happens in the AFC Championship game, the Super Bowl, I'm already going on record to say I'm not picking Baltimore to win the NFC North next year. I'm already doing that. So I'm getting in early to say that I'm not picking the Ravens to win the NFC North, or excuse me, AFC North. The other thing, though, about talking about, it doesn't matter who you beat in the Super Bowl, because this isn't. Well, I don't want to say college, because you don't have these weird it didn't matter. If you win, that's all that matters. No one cares about who you beat. Like, that doesn't end up being a thing.
No.
Because the Steelers beat the Cardinals in the Super Bowl years ago, and the Cardinals, I believe, went into the playoffs at 9-7, didn't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, on the flip side, also the Steelers and the Packers won as the final team in. The records get wiped once you make to the playoffs. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So, the Steelers beating the Cardinals, over a decade ago, longer than that, no one can. The Steelers have 6 Super Bowl trophies. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter who they beat.
Don't worry. Deep down to me. Or how about how they beat Seattle with 2 bad calls? Not that I'm still bitter over that one.
So, but that's should Baltimore beat Detroit? I don't. It doesn't matter that it's Detroit, but also Detroit is way better this year than the Cardinals were in that year that they made it to the Super Bowl.
And the thing is, we talk about this. If you get healthy and hot, and while Detroit's secondary, their cornerbacks are not good, but say what you will, having C.J. Gardner-Johnson back there makes them a completely different team.
And the last thing, to just kind of bring about the final piece of our NFC talk and NFC Championship talk, Detroit, San Francisco. Honestly, I think San Francisco could win this game like 42-17.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. Like, and that's not.
And you know what people are going to do?
I'm not.
People are going to be like, "Oh, same old Detroit."
Well,
yes.
I mean,
not
yes,
you and I.
You're right. No, you're right.
Not you and I.
There will
like
be
the
people
average,
that say that.
The average viewer would be like,
the Lions are such frauds.
Right. Well, no, San Francisco, because San Francisco is not going to play as poorly as they did last night.
They beat the Rams and Bucks. They didn't earn it.
Right.
They won their division for the first time in 30 years.
Right. Which also included the Packers, another another team.
Did they beat them twice?
I feel like they split with
They
them.
lost 5, so
I thought they split.
they
with
also
them.
had weird loss. Detroit was funky.
Again,
this year.
you called this 2 months ago, man. You were like, "Is there not a great team?" And I was like, "No, you're absolutely right. There's not a great team."
No, the Packers did beat the Lions for sure.
But again, I think
So the Lions beat the Chiefs, which that was kind of like cemented everyone's offseason discussions about Detroit being good. Beat them opening night in Kansas City. Lost to the Seahawks in overtime. Beat the Packers.
here's the other piece,
Got
though.
smoked by the Ravens. That's right.
And this is one like I'm not just saying that. I would say this
Lost
to
to
troll
the
you,
Packers.
but I'm not just saying this to
Lost
troll
to
you.
the Bears.
Like, if the Bills were to win tonight and then win next week and then beat the Niners, having not lost in like 2.5 months, I'd be like, if there's an argument that like they struggled and then they hit their stride, like if they were to beat Chiefs, Ravens, Niners on their way, I feel like there could be an argument there. I don't know that they do it. But
I hope not.
I know you hope not.
I hope not. That really, and like part of me gets it because
I mean, they'd probably be better than the 72 Dolphins at that point. I always have to take it too far. I just have to take it too far.
My Bills hatred revolves around 2 things. One, they're a direct rival of the Miami Dolphins. And before the New England Patriots of the last 20 years, the Buffalo Bills were my most hated team growing up because they were beating Miami in the playoffs to go to 4 straight Super Bowls, which they all lost. Don't forget that. The Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Never forget that. And they've never won a Super Bowl. Never forget that either. This will look really bad if they win the Super Bowl, but it's fine. I'm just going
cold takes,
But
right?
also, present time also, but going back to those 90s Bills-Dolphins rivalries, Adam Filer is a fan of the Bills and is one of the most obnoxious human beings on the planet when it comes to sports if you're not on the same page with him. So Penn State football, we're good. Everything else, we're not good. I mean, he's a Reds fan, and who really cares about the Reds? But he's a Red Wings and a Penguins fan in hockey. Like, can you get more obnoxious as a Flyers fan than someone to like the Red Wings? Maybe if you somehow like.
See, I didn't know the Red Wings part. I know the Penguins part. I know he's on board with the Penguins.
It's so infuriating. So, no, I cannot have the Bills be good. I cannot have them win a Super Bowl. I mean, no. I mean, people listening to the show know Adam. You know, how bad would that be if the Bills won a Super Bowl? But I'm seeing all these people on Twitter. Oh, I'm riding with the Bills. You know, I just really like Josh Allen. No, you do not like Josh Allen. You do not like the Bills. You are for anyone but them. I put I told your mom. Put the Ravens above the Bills. I will be wearing purple next week if that's what it is.
The Niners, to me, are your Ravens. Like where
I
don't want it, but if it happens, it happens. Like, but the Bills to you were my Cowboys. Well, the Cowboys lost too. So like, while the Eagles are out, hey, the team I couldn't deal with it if they won. They did me a favor too. So
yeah, I don't.
And since your dad is listening, I know this is off topic, but like I asked you the other day, and you're like, we haven't talked about. I'm interested in his take on bringing McCarthy back.
Yeah, go ahead, Dad. Text me.
I'm just, and that's not a like making fun question. That is an honest. I wonder what Bill's take is.
Okay, we're getting lots of comments here. Your mom was listening when I was talking about Baltimore.
Yes.
There's only one Colt team, and it's not an Indy. So Greg saying, please knock the Steelers. I'd like for the Lions to take the 49ers. Like, I agree. I'm with you on that.
I am wholeheartly rooting for the Lions. It's not going to happen, though.
Back to your mom. She thinks Baltimore is he thinks Buffalo is Baltimore's Achilles. We need Kansas City to win.
She's going to be picking against Baltimore. Not rooting, but picking against Baltimore.
So is this where you get it from?
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean...
Well, see, in Buffalo, so here's the thing for Buffalo, too, is like, there was a thing, I don't know that I told you this. Growing up, my uncle lived in Buffalo. So, like,
she told me that.
Yeah, we would go to Buffalo, and, like, I went to, like, Jim Kelly Sports Bar. Like, it was cool. Like, I don't know.
Did you eat Flutie Flakes?
This was pre-Flutie Flakes.
This is pre-Flutie Flakes.
This was honestly closer to the end of the Jim Kelly, like, time frame, like, mid-90s.
Well, see, the funny thing is, up until... basically when the Patriots dynasty ended and Josh Allen got, I'd say better. I still think he can be his own worst enemy. But the Bills were as irrelevant as the Dolphins were. Like that late 90s through late 2018 or so.
Right.
Those 25-ish years. I mean, only the Jets were more irrelevant, you know?
And they went to the AFC Championship game two years in a row?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, with Sanchez, right?
Yeah.
Because they beat New England. And didn't Baltimore beat them, though?
Talk about flash in a pan.
Like Mark Sanchez and
right.
Man, I almost said Rex Ryan. Wait, no, that's right. It was
Rex Ryan, yeah.
I was thinking Buddy Ryan.
Right. Those Jets teams, those defenses were so good. And the offense was so
bad. Butt fumble. Like that's is it No, it's Matt Leinart that has fully embraced his, like, he's funny. Like he's
yes.
Yeah. So
I sent you a reel yesterday of him.
Was that the one of the doghouse?
Yeah.
About the kid
I made
did
mom
something
angry.
wrong, made mom angry.
Yeah.
It's like,
first time.
Yeah. Great stuff. So boo Bills. Boo Ravens just a little less. Go Chiefs, AFC. We'll see how that goes over. I'm still waiting for my dad to get back about Mike McCarthy. NFC, go Lions.
Yeah, go Lions.
But if it's 49ers, go Niners. If your opponent is... See, what'll be interesting, though, is like in a weird world where it's Chiefs 49ers again.
I'm rooting for the Chiefs.
So am I. It just will matter less, this time around.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll probably honestly matter more for you than it will for me.
It would matter more for me, but to be honest, I would legitimately be rooting for Andy Reid and Travis Kelce as the extension of Jason Kelce, like
because of the Swiftie,
right? And like I just
because you're showing your inner Swiftie,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, like I think I would 100% be rooting for the Chiefs in that situation, and like yeah, if the Niners make it,
second and goal, good Lord. Oh wait, no, good. I thought Buffalo had it.
Oh, they must have marked Pacheco short on that one, right? Or was there a turnover?
No, I don't know.
Let's see what the score.
See,
is.
I go to the comments and please tell me he was down.
No, it's still 27-24. Was there a turnover by Buffalo?
I don't know.
Hang on.
Someone that was watching live, please comment. McCole Hardman was down. His thigh or hip hits the ground.
They
stopped him?
They got stopped. 4th and 5 at the Buffalo 30. They fake punted and they got caught.
Buffalo did.
Yeah. They fake punted and they from their own 30 and it got stuffed.
So this is what my dad is getting back to me now about the Mike McCarthy stuff. So the Eagles seem to be keeping Sirianni. I feel like if you were making that change, you probably would have by now. Don't you think?
Yes.
but Desai is officially gone, so they have an open coordinator position,
which is a weird situation for lots of. Yeah, I think DeMar Hamlin might have gotten it on that special on the fake punt too, but didn't get the first down.
Ugh.
It was D Hamlin for Buffalo.
Yeah. So Eagles not making a change. Everyone thought the Cowboys would make a change. It comes out, no, Mike McCarthy is back. Right. He's in his final years of his deal. He is not getting an extension. He is the offensive coordinator by default. He's the one calling the plays. They may have a OC by name, but he's not calling the plays. It's McCarthy. And that wasn't really the issue most of this year. Well, there really weren't any issues for a large swath of the year, especially at home. The Cowboys were one of the best teams in the league.
And the best offense in the league.
Right. But the defense let him down in the playoff game. Dan Quinn very well could be on his way to being the head coach of the Seahawks, I think
that's
rumored.
Such a good fit. Like
coming back home, or where he became a big name,
right,
was in Seattle before he went to Atlanta.
I was going to say, maybe go back to Atlanta.
So this is what my dad says about Mike McCarthy and the Cowboys. He said if there was someone, and this is kind of related to what you and I say about Penn State, if he felt that there was definitely someone better out there for sure that you could get to come there, he would want that. But he's not sure that ever was going to be Belichick. He doesn't have an opinion here listed here about someone like Pete Carroll, if that's even an option for Pete Carroll. We don't know exactly what went down there. But also, Mike, I feel like people forget about that Mike Vrabel is out there.
Yeah, but here, our disgust for him aside, what about Jim Harbaugh? The dude has won everywhere he went. Everywhere he went. Now, I know he didn't win the Super Bowl.
Sorry, they're going over the challenge here. Didn't he say he touched the ground and then the ball came out?
No, they ruled it a touchback. Is that what he said? Yeah, first down.
Oh, that is trash. Wait, call overturned.
Yeah, they said they ruled him down, and then they said the ball's out, and it goes out of the end zone.
Oh, I didn't want the call to be overturned.
No.
Oh, because God. Look, and this could take us into a tangent. I do not want them to change this rule either. That is,
if you lose the fumble,
there are people, Pro Football type Mike Florio, the biggest blowhard out there.
The dumbest rule? No,
he's the dumbest rule in sports. That'll be a headline on Pro Football Talk. Why is that the dumbest rule in sports? If you fumble the ball and it goes into the place where you would score points, but it goes out of bounds, why should you get another chance?
Right.
Hold on to the freaking ball.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't. I mean, as much as I hate it,
right?
Like, I want Kansas City to have the ball here.
They
don't deserve to have the ball here.
The dumbest rule is that, like, no. And this.
Well, now here, I'll give you a dumb rule, and it came up somewhat recently, is that a player on a kick return can put themselves out of bounds and touch the ball, and it's a penalty on the kicking team.
The kid for the Browns.
It just happened in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a smart play.
Like, if you're good enough to do it, because I remember tweeting out and be like, "That's high football IQ right there."
We've seen people mess it up though, where they catch it
touch
and then they step out.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you have to be out of bounds and then touch the ball.
Right. The guy just straight up laid down. Yeah.
So, but no, that. The people that think that's the dumbest play in sports are the dumbest people in sports.
Right.
So that's where we'll go with that.
I think he broke his collarbone there.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Someone on the Bills.
He got smacked.
Oh, Shakir.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe not, but that's.
Ouchie.
It could be just other stuff, but.
Oh, so that's rough. So the Chiefs were going in to possibly take a 10-point lead.
Yeah.
And. Well, it wasn't Kadarius Toney. That was Mecole Hardman.
Kadarius Toney's out.
Yeah, he wasn't even active. Is he injured?
Yes. Okay. He's downgraded to out. I was like, he was downgraded. The team was upgraded.
So, all right, I guess back to the coaching thing.
Yeah.
So McCarthy stays in Dallas.
Right.
I don't know if I want to say it's the right move. I understand the move.
He's gone 12-5 the last 3 years.
Right, and that's what my dad says. He's like, McCarthy has 3 straight 12 wins, 12 seasons with 12 wins.
That's a better way to say it, yes.
Which Dallas hasn't had since probably the mid 90s when they were
Right.
winning 3 out of 4 Super Bowls or whatever it was. 2 out of 3 Super Bowls, whatever. I understand that the playoff defeats the last 3 years have been excruciating.
Well,
Really bad losses, either really bad decisions on the field or getting blown out at home this year. Awful.
Right, being non-competitive against that Green Bay team was just hard. But I understand. And I said to you, this is really tough for me because what do? We go on here and we talk about consistency all the time and patience. Patience and consistency are really good things to have. And yet here I am. I'm like, I don't know if McCarthy should keep his job. And I'm like, I don't know if Sirianni should keep his job. The Sirianni one's hard for me because of the fan stuff there. And there had to be a lot going on. I just don't know what that deal was there. But they need to figure it out. And the people making those decisions, the decisions, hopefully have better insight into how that was working. So,
is Belichick the Atlanta guy? And who's his quarterback? Because that's the biggest thing. I know people are thinking Kirk Cousins because he's a free agent, I believe.
Kirk Cousins would be a great Belichick.
Kirk Cousins to the Falcons with
Kirk
Belichick.
Cousins with those weapons?
Right, because Atlanta's not devoid of talent.
And a defense that improved dramatically from last year to this year. That would be
interesting, especially because that division's wide open.
Oh yeah.
Are the Bucs going to be? I mean, they were average, slightly above average by record wise, 9-8. Can Baker play like that? And that was his problem in Cleveland was consistency, play to play,
right.
Game to game, season to season.
Still the last quarterback to win a playoff game for them, though.
Yeah, they face it. Well, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the offseason. No.
Did he catch that?
No.
He ruled it incomplete.
Please let that have touched the ground. Hey, keep complaining because the play clock is running.
Does Buffalo have a challenge? I don't know if they've challenged earlier.
No,
that's
oh my God, dude! Please challenge that. I hope they challenge that. Go ahead, challenge it. That would be the dumbest challenge.
Okay.
Made.
Nope.
No, and then
it's pinned between your face mask.
Has both hands.
It's pinned between your face mask and the ground,
taking away all credibility of a coach ever believing his player caught it.
So we were watching last night, and somebody's like, "Who told Harbaugh to challenge that something?" And you could see he was going off of what was told to him, and then you could see as they challenge it, they're waiting, and you could see his reaction to that same person probably having to tell him, yeah, never mind, we're going to lose this challenge. Because he's like, are you kidding me? You could tell, he's just going off. Because that's one of those things where...
Bad punt.
Yeah, that was a bad punt.
So this has got to be a Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire game right now.
Go Pacheco on my fantasy squad.
I was happy with the way Amon-Ra St. Brown
really came through at the end there.
McCaffrey and Kittle.
I did not have McCaffrey, but I had Kittle. Ooh. I have Kittle and Kelsey. I don't know which one I played. I probably played Kittle. He scored the first touchdown.
Okay, so Kittle and McCaffrey times 2.
Yeah.
And I have James Cook. Did he do anything?
So
because Allen ran it in.
Oh, you know what? I have Kelsey and
you have Kelsey
Kittle.
and Kittle?
Yes.
Did you play both of them too?
Yeah, because one's in my flex.
Kelsey's got 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
See, I have Josh Allen on my bench.
Josh Allen's on my bench too because I had Lamar.
Did I have Lamar too?
I don't know.
Why do you know these things?
Dude, because I had to look my team 5 times this weekend. I couldn't remember who, I
you
couldn't
also
remember who I'm
listed
playing.
3 Buffalo players when you're only allowed 2, and then we figured out that the one Buffalo player you listed doesn't even play for Buffalo anymore, but he was still in the playoffs. You just listed him for the wrong team. That was Devin Singletary. Everyone's like, what are they talking about? I was like, this is a perfect segue. Now I'm going to feel like Ross Tucker. It's in a fantasy league run by my uncle, who usually is listening live, who also sent us an email that we're going to go over right now. So this is just going to be trash talk, I'm sure.
Oh, that's fine.
So he says, what do Mac Jones, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, and Jalen Hurts have in common? They all had a tea time earlier today. Yes, even though your teams had an extra game, they are all still sitting at home watching the rest of the playoffs. Now, am I upset? No, after all of the nice comments you were saying about my team, I ended up rooting for other teams. The biggest surprise was the whipping the Dallas Cowboys took. It looked like they thought all they had to do was throw their jock straps out on the field and they would win. Dolphins in the cold was not a good feeling, and Eagles have not been playing good over the past several weeks. The other big news for me was Belichick leaving the Patriots. I had hoped they would keep him, but I guess things were in the works for a while. It looks more and more like he will be going to the Falcons. I would have loved him going to the Eagles or the Cowboys just for laughs. Don't know the rest of the playoffs will continue, but looking for a Ravens-49ers Super Bowl with San Francisco winning. Would not be unhappy with Bills-Lions Super Bowl. Have a good show. So we talked about some of this stuff already, Eagles, Cowboys, Dolphins, Belichick, and the Falcons. He talked last week that if Bill was going to be done coaching New England, he wanted them to stay on or to give up, I guess it was more give up the personnel role, like the GM role, and stay on as a coach, not getting any of that. But it did come out, though, pretty much immediately that they gave up or they had written into the contract of Gerard Mayo that he was going to be basically coach in waiting so that he would stop interviewing last year, and they made good on it, which if it was contractually obligated, they kind of had to. What are we... Was this interference? Is that what
I
they're
think
calling?
they're talking about it.
Why wouldn't it be?
See, this is where, and I know why they don't, but man, those XFL things where you would listen in on this and you'd get to hear them talking.
How is it not pass interference? Yeah.
They did. That's huge. It was third down.
Well, what was I'd love to know what that discussion was because the ball was
My
in
guess
the
is,
air.
So the first time I saw it, when they played it, the first replay that I saw there that was like real time, it kind of looked like it was hard to tell whether whether Rice was hitting the Buffalo player or whether he was hitting him. Does that make sense? Like it was kind of hard to tell.
I guess maybe the conversation was it within 5 yards before the ball was thrown? Because you're allowed to.
It could be too. See, and this leads to another discussion that I had with someone in the Ravens game yesterday, I think. And I'm not disagreeing because I sent this to you. I am firmly in the camp of get it right. However, it's weird to me like that there doesn't seem to be any real guideline as to when is New York in their ear telling them to change something, and when do they make them challenge it? Like, because there are times where they do like, oh no, that wasn't complete, that was incomplete. Yet like Buffalo had to challenge that the fumble went out the end zone. You know, like I'm all for getting it right, unless it hurts the Eagles. Then I want whatever helps the Eagles. But you know what I mean? Like I believe, are in agreement. There should be some, like, if you have the ability to see those things, use it to make the call correct.
I get and you're right. I am with you. Like I feel like they should be getting more of these things right. I think the issue comes down to: are you having someone? Are you going to end up calling holding on every play?
Well, no. Well,
like I feel like that's where we're going.
No,
but
I agree.
That would be terrible for the product,
and the NFL knows it. The NFL knows it.
So I feel like that's probably the biggest issue.
It's not great when all the routes go left and your
quarterback
is immediately forced out to the right.
So I in terms of officiating,
talk about random. There was a guy with a White Sox hat on in the ground.
Very random. The officiating thing to me, and I know it's tough, and especially when it's like your team in the thick of it and facing it, and you feel like you got hosed. I buy into, like, in all sports, officiating. I don't know. I don't want to say karma, but leveling, because how many times are level-headed fans watching game going, "Oh, that should have been a penalty on us," and it wasn't called.
Oh yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So, and I try, and I fail all the time when it comes to Penn State and Miami. But I try to remind myself that something wasn't called earlier in the game.
Right. It evens out. It really does. It really does.
It's just when it's crunch time, the game's close. You're trying to win. You're trying to hold on. Like all those, when it comes down to all those things, you don't have the proper perspective. They're never going to get everything right. I feel like now we're talking about baseball and umpires, but I feel like that's a little bit different just because there's an automated way to ensure that is always correct.
Right.
Whereas,
and I love that the only argument against it is, well, some of the minor leaguers say the system's not exactly the same from one park to the next. Guess what also is not exactly the same from one park to the next?
Human umpires.
Right. Or from one batter to the next.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I feel like.
Oh my gosh, get the ball. Chiefs had 2 opportunities to put distance between them and Buffalo, and they weren't able to do it. Crunch time.
Well, they went with. I know they didn't really get a lot on the ground the first 2 plays, and then they got the pass interference, but then they tried to pass, and
it didn't work.
Run the ball, Andy. Things we've heard for 25 years.
Did we cover everything that we needed to cover?
I believe so. I mean, we talked about Lions.
My dad just said, "Go Buffalo."
I see. Yeah. If it's Buffalo, San Francisco, I'm full on.
Got 100% on San Francisco.
Let's go.
100% San Francisco. There isn't. You cannot tell me there isn't a little part that would want Buffalo to lose because of Adam. You can't tell me that.
I would never do that to our friend.
Yeah. I'll remind you that the next time an anti-Philadelphia text comes through. Hey, you brought this on yourself.
Give it 5 minutes.
You brought this on yourself.
It wouldn't be the first time I was wrong. Won't be the last. Oh my gosh.
So Jason Kelsey's enjoying himself in Buffalo tonight in the Kansas City suite with Taylor. But I think he has commandeered the attention of everyone there as he has been celebrating by taking his shirt off. And I saw one video here. He jumped out of the window into the stands. So
I love him.
New Heights, actually Homage celebrating as well because Jason showed up to the game wearing the Big Yeti, red and yellow Kansas City adjacent. I don't think that's an actual Chiefs shirt. I think it's actually a New Heights shirt, just rendered in red and yellow font for Travis, obviously supporting his brother. But also Eminem in Detroit was wearing an Homage shirt at the game today.
They've blown up, man.
Yeah,
I've got a couple other shirts. I love them.
Yeah, I have a bunch. I got Kelly a Steelers long sleeve shirt and their National Park sweatshirt.
The first one I got from Joe, a friend of the show. For when I was in his wedding, he got us all like ones individual for our teams. And
okay,
it's the one I have. It's like it looks faded red, but it's got like the Philly Fanatic like marching with a flag.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like that was the first of their shirts that I had. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
So my first homage thing was actually this sweatshirt that I'm wearing for the podcast for New Heights. But then I liked it so much. Actually, Kelly started to steal it. And she started to wear it all the time. And she's like, it's just really, really nice, really soft. I was like, yeah, I know. Their stuff's really great. Not cheap. If you can find them, their stuff are on sale. That's probably better for your wallet. But there's quality stuff. The T-shirts, sweatshirts are fantastic. Yeah. They're very soft. They're very comfortable.
And they're cool.
And yeah, I would honestly...
Like they're unique.
They're unique. Yeah, you're right. But I have... Actually, this just came up because I said that I wouldn't do this last Monday when my brother-in-law came over. We celebrated Natalie's birthday early with the family because she was having her friends over for the birthday party. We weren't having a big birthday party, so had Jason, Corinne, Logan, Lisa, and my parents come over. And last week I was going to throw on my an homage shirt, but I thought better of it because it was the Buccaneers one, and they were playing the Eagles that night.
I appreciate it.
So I didn't wear that one, but it is the creamsicle logo.
One.
Get out! But it's a red shirt with the throwback.
Pewter for life.
No pewter. Creamsicle all the way. So, but I also, and I just wore this one the other day, I also bought the Detroit Lions one, and all this was probably I guess March. It was after the Super Bowl. I wanted to get the New Heights sweatshirt. I wanted to throw a few other things. So I got the throwback Dolphins, like celebrating the 72 undefeated season. And then I got the Buccaneers throwback. And then I got a Lions thinking, hey, the Lions are good next year and the Dolphins aren't, or the Dolphins don't make it, and I got to root for the Lions, I better have the Detroit Lions one in the closet. So that one's looking really good in my favor, because if Detroit would pull the upset next week, I know I can throw that bad boy on for Super Bowl Sunday. I do not own any 49ers stuff.
Good.
I do not own any Bills stuff. I definitely own Chiefs stuff.
You don't own a Puz Leslie jersey?
Oh, I do. I do. It's the iteration before this, and also I'm not rooting for the Bills.
No. I understand.
No, you're right.
I went off of that.
I
stuff
do
though,
own a Bills jersey, but it's for Paul Posluszny, the Penn State linebacker who is being inducted in the College Football Hall of Fame in December, class of 2024, which is awesome. He is one of the best linebackers to ever play at the university that produces the best linebackers. So it's awesome. And I was there literally his entire career because he was a freshman when I was a freshman. And we got to see him be amazing as a freshman, wearing number 33 that year. And he really burst on the scene. I think it was against Indiana with a pick 6. And then he switched to 31 and was a mainstay for 3 straight years, and got to play with Dan Connor and Sean Lee. And oh man, those are the times. Those mid 2000s Penn State teams. Glad they got over the hump and weren't terrible in 2005, because it would have been really brutal to have a defense like that and not get anything out of it. So, well, the Bills are still driving, unfortunately. 6.5 minutes to go. Kansas City's up 27-24. Buffalo does have the ball approaching midfield.
We've never seen a game like this come down to the wire.
No, never, ever. I have James Cook in that fantasy league too. I don't think he's really done much though.
So in this game, I have 4 guys going. I've got Pacheco and Kelsey.
Yeah, I don't have either of them. Who are my 2?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't have Josh Allen in, but I have Diggs.
I don't remember what Chiefs I have. Huh. Don't know. Oh, man. Whew. So, well, I do want to say happy birthday to Natalie. Tomorrow she turns 11. We had her sleepover this weekend just with a few friends and Haley. And staying on topic, it was a very Taylor Swift evening and overnight at the house. We had the Eras Tour movie, 3 hours long.
Did you see it in the theater?
We did, yeah. Okay, we took the girls to go see it in October. So it was funny. I got an email. This was in end of August, maybe early September. That could have been a Josh Allen highlight reel. That would have been a staple.
No,
I got an email.
They're going to pick up the first down.
I got an email from the Taylor Swift official site talking about the Eras Tour movie, or it was becoming a movie and you could go. So I immediately logged on to buy tickets. And I'm glad I did, because it eventually sold out like the concert was. Right. And we surprised the girls and took them to see it. And they, we actually ended up getting to go with the Hills. So we all got to go and watch it. And it was nuts. I've probably told this story before, but I'm very thankful to Natalie and Haley for becoming Swift.
He fumbled.
You idiot. What do we tell our players all the time?
Fall on the ball.
Fall on the ball.
And notice what that Bills lineman did.
Fell on the ball.
He fell on it just how we teach them. He slid in on his side and just covered it. He didn't roll. Didn't do anything. How about that hustle play by that Packers guy last night?
Oh, my gosh, on the kickoff, yeah. Where was it? Oh, yeah, the Taylor Swift concert. So the girls became Swifties, literally 2 or 3 weeks after her concert was in Philly. So saved us the disappointing conversation of having to say how we can't take you to the concert because it costs $1,000 a seat resale, secondary market.
4th and 3.
Yeah, but they should have the ball. That's what's so frustrating. The Chiefs should have the ball.
Non-competitive on stopping that. That was easy. That was an easy 4th down conversion.
But yeah, so it was a very it was a very nice night. Natalie had a good time. Haley had a good time. I think all her friends had a good time. And we'll get to celebrate tomorrow. And by then, we'll know who the final 4 teams are left in the NFL for Super Bowl 58, which is upcoming on February 11th in Las Vegas. And it's, wow, look at that total yards, 353 to 353. Talk about an even battle. That's a block in the back. Very obvious. Just like, was that? Oh, it was in the Chiefs-Dolphins game, I believe. It was Jamal. Who's their right tackle? The one that came over from Jacksonville.
Oh, I know who you mean.
You know, Jamal Taylor, right? Blocked the Dolphins guy in the back on a play exactly like that and took a touchdown off the board. And didn't call that one, though. Well, I guess that's my uncle says he agrees with Bill finally. I'm not sure of all the stuff we discussed this evening which part he's agreeing with. But there you go, Dad. Your brother's agreeing with you. So like he said, finally. So we're under 4 minutes now in Buffalo, Kansas City. Justin and I are gonna finish things here and sign off. We will not have a show next weekend, but we will be back in 2 weeks for our Super Bowl preview. So we'll know who's in the Super Bowl by then. It'll be the week in between, Sunday, February 4th. I think same time. I don't know. We're going to discuss what's going on. But Justin and I will be back for episode 393 on Sunday, February 4th. And I think that's it. Anything else for you? Anything you want to say before we go? Any shutouts? Don't like this. Sure. Don't like this. Nope. Don't like it. So, all right. Again, happy birthday to Natalie. Hope everyone has a great week or great 2 weeks, and we'll see you back on February 4th for our Super Bowl 58 preview. Go Chiefs, and then go Lions. And if it's not the Chiefs, go NFC in general. That's where I'm at. So,
I just hope everyone has fun.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew. So, all right. For Justin Raffoff, I'm Joe Mays. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show.
That's a wrap on this episode of the Joe Mays and J-Raff Show, brought to you by Mays Sandwich Shop. Woohoo! You can watch each weekly episode live on Facebook, Periscope, or YouTube. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. You can also rate and review us on many of these platforms as well. We'd love to hear from you. Send your emails to the Mays Sandwich Shop inbox at joemaysandjraff@gmail.com. The Joe Mays and J-Raff Show is a part of the JMNJR Radio Network, home to other productions such as The Bulldog Hour, Tangents with Friends, and Nat Chats with Dad. Until next time.